Hey, Reaper fans, how is everyone in the community today? We are live from the Reaper studio again. This is, however, another test stream, as we are going to be testing having, just like we did yesterday, having an and frame in the middle or in the lower corner of our screen while I'm painting. So y'all can see me, like, cussing at the model while you listen to me cussing at the model. But at any rate, yeah, welcome to Reaper testing, week 1, right? Because we've been doing tests all this week.
Correct.
Right, so we're playing with our setup, we're figuring stuff out, and we welcome your feedback. So thank you. Today we are going to be finally working on the Hellhound because I did not forget him at work because, well, he was intentionally left at work so that we could paint him. Hey, Art of Mike Disney, I think you're stalking us. I see the stream start, and then I see, boop, Art of Mike Disney is now hosting you. He's like, I need to host somebody. This Ann chick seems okay. Thank you for the host. We really do appreciate it. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rings. Hey, Jay. Hey, Just Isis. Hey, Robin. Hey, Cooves. Hey, Iffy. And good to see you, too. Appreciate it, Mike. Anne is cut off. Am I cut off? I don't see being... I mean, I'm not cut off when I look at the monitor.
Yeah, that's not... I don't know what's going on there, Robin.
Yeah, weird. I'm not sure what's going on there, Robin. I am at Reaper Studios, Rings. I will be back home tomorrow, though, as we are still testing. We need to test a new sound setup with the whole echo and volume thing, so we're going to be back at my place tomorrow. So, yeah. Thank you, Planer. I'm glad you love Anne. I love Anne, too. Mike Disney is everywhere. He is ubiquitous. Purple Heart, back at your Rings. I don't know what kind of class I'm in, though. Maybe kindergarten, Cybestorm. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Hey, by the way, do you have an update on that super special project?
Uh-oh.
Right? It's a super only Mike and I know about it. Super special secret. Because I was actually curious.
Actually, Iffy, it's good that you mentioned that it's choppy for you, although it shouldn't be choppy. We were worried about choppiness, but we were going to be worried once we introduced the second camera, so it could be your computer at this point. Frame rate seems a little low, choppy, getting a lot of that.
I'm definitely getting some dropped frames here, but it could be purely because my computer, right, in the two different PCI slots that I'm streaming to, it's getting a lot of bandwidth basically pumped into it. A lot of information, I should say. Mm-hmm. And it's taxing the bandwidth. So even with us not being on that scene, it's still, it's being taxed.
Robo-Ann at first? Yeah, weird. So, well, Planer, Justin does have a sexy voice, and if he was a singer in his spare time, can you imagine how much sexier it would be? Because I know my voice was a lot sexier when I used to sing regularly. Because, you condition your voice.
Yeah, it's. Did
you ever sing, Justin?
No, I can't sing at all. I promise you don't want me to sing.
All right, so that's out. Maybe you need to do voice actor lessons, because that also conditions your voice. Have you ever looked into that?
Singing or voice lessons?
Voice actor lessons. Like there are vocal training that you can do to actually deepen and make your voice richer and better tuned for recording.
No, I've never considered...
I follow a Overwatch League broadcaster on one of my Discords, and he actually helps people who want to become casters. And so that was one of the things he posted about, is there are voice lessons you can do that will deepen and give your voice more reverb, essentially, so that it carries better over the air. Anyway, enough with voice acting and voice thinging, although anybody who does want to be like a vocal personality on the air anywhere can take note. And let's see here. Buffering, frame rate's a bit better. Windowed version stops at Anne's forehead. Full screen is fine. Yeah. Please don't window me.
Yeah. Thank you for the bits there, Numbat.
Oh yeah, thank you for the cheer.
So obviously this is a work in progress. We are dropping frames here. So it's, you know what? I hadn't actually tested this morning. There's a possibility our internet's actually having an issue.
Well, it is like pouring rain here and has been for 3 days. And in Texas, that does tend to make issues. News show Justin sings for Reaper fans. No, I'm Viman Aqua. I'm gonna agree with Rings, and Justin should be reading romance novels for Reaper fans. I'm gonna say that's better because he warned us about his singing.
I'm gonna start with 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm pretty sure Twitch is gonna shut you down on that one.
Yes, almost certainly. No, it looks like.
How are we now?
Let's see here. It looks like the internet is stable, but
Question mark? Question mark?
yeah. Let me see what's because I'm actually getting some pretty big, basically some Houston. We have a problem warnings over here on OBS.
Oh no!
So let me see.
Is OBS just paranoid?
It's. I mean, it could actually be OBS this morning. And
Hey,
that
Onion.
would be weird, but
Oniony?
that's not typical.
Oni, 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 oni. You're either oniony or you're oniony, or you're oni, 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 oni. And I kind of like the fact that it could be either. Hey there, Rhonda. How's it going? We are testing, Rhonda. This is our testing week, and yeah, apparently there's some choppiness and some weird stuff going on. So
Let me. Let's go ahead and go to the live screen here. And
yeah, let's
see
go.
if,
Let's go to Hellhound screen. Hellhound cam. Rawr, says Hellhound. Rawr, rawr.
You guys tell me if it's stabilizing, because I'm trying to right the boat here.
Yes, yes. Justin will attempt to keep the Hellhound viable, and we will Hellhound away. So we are doing fiery effects on Mr. Hellhound. He's a really nice subject for this because he actually has cracks in his skin, in addition to a big glowy thing on his back there, which I already undercoated in white. You've read Harlequin romances, Bug Lips. That's pretty enlightened of you. Wow. Oh yeah, Daniel Steele. She's not bad.
I also dropped the bitrate anyway because I knew we were pumping out 2 different video feeds this go around. So
Oh, okay.
that, in theory, should affect quality in a negative fashion in exchange for 2 video feeds. But
Oh, all right. Well, we'll see.
Looks pretty sharp to me here. So
All right, so this is Hellhound, and we started with black and brown as his base color, so that's 9137, black and brown. We are doing a kind of a charred effect on him. I like to start with browns on this. A lot of people start with blacks, but if you really kind of think about it, blending oranges into browns is a little bit easier, and you can always do your cool centers with blacks. It's really hard to highlight up with orange from a true black without getting a bit yellowy or greeny. So I am using the starting color of black and brown is how I like to do my glowing metal and glowing stone effects. I think it works a bit better than black. You really only start to see black when charcoal cools and things like that. So yeah, I've got it right up here, Coobs. Wait, there you go. There you go. There's your black and brown. So I like to use this instead of, he has bones actually. You can see it. His bones chain is right up here, and I haven't painted it. So yeah, so I like to start with a dark brown when I'm doing fiery effects because it's much easier to blend up from the oranges. For our oranges today, and you could also use, by the way, the lava orange and explosion orange from the original set, but I really like volcanic orange for this lately. So volcanic sunrise, lantern, and up to probably a mix of lantern and white, pure white. All right, so that's kind of how we're going to do it. You can do what I did up top here and kind of underpaint in white underneath you can see it underneath the chain. I did that because I wanted a really bright, hot color there because that's looking directly into his innards. So I figured it would be hotter, therefore it would be brighter. So when you're trying to put a light, bright color like a yellow over a very dark brown, it often helps to undercoat in white. This is a very thin white, and I probably will build it up a bit. And some of the coals here need another highlight. But yeah. Hey, Paul John's Life. Hey, Karinico. Hey, Rainbow Sculptor. Hello, all the old new people. Coobs, yeah, charred brown could be a good start as well. I just find that blackened is a little bit more reddish, warmish, and so that's why I go with it. Oh, yay! Good, Vimanaqua. I'm very happy.
That's fantastic news, yeah.
Yes. Can you move and cam to upper right so it doesn't block the mini, people are saying.
I can do that, that's fine.
You pop me up top, because then it's just going to block the chain, because it is hard to keep the mini in frame.
Oh, whoa, Aaron's levitating.
Ah! It's hard to paint when levitating. There we go. Now I'm stable. At least I've got a Tensor's floating disk under me. Oh, I used an IP thing, but at least I'm not applying it to one of our miniatures. Yeah, for a dark bronze NMM, you could go with this Rainbow Sculptor, absolutely. Yeah. I wish VO3318. It's raining and cold and awful here, and this is the third day of raining, cold, and awful. Yeah, you could use chard if you wanted to. I find that blackened covers just a little better. Maybe it's just me. It's probably because it has the red oxide pigment in it, which is a very, very high coverage pigment, second only to pure white. Whereas the brown oxide that is in charred brown is just a hair less. So that could be just me. All right, so let's grab some stuff. So I'm not going to underpaint with white on here. I'm going to try to use volcanic just a little bit heavier than I normally would. Let's see if I can get, and I'm just pretty much going to go, there's a crack right here and a crack here, so I want to kind of outline the crack there. And there's some micro cracks coming up from that, so I want to avoid them. I'm going to use a layering brush stroke. My paint consistency is actually pretty thick right now, and I may regret that. We'll see. But I wanted it to cover and actually show over this dark base coat. So usually when you're dealing with things like oranges, you do want to go a little heavier if you're doing that. If you're going over black or you're going over a dark brown, you can go a little thicker with your paint and not risk too much as far as leaving brush strokes and stuff. And if you do leave brush strokes, hold on, I'm catching up to the chat, Okay. So, I'm going to turn him upside down so I can always use a comfortable brush stroke when you are doing layering or fine work of any sort. Making sure your hand stays in a comfortable position is key for developing brush control. So we're just going to add a little bit of darker orange here. But yeah, anyway, if it doesn't give you a good layer because the paint is a little thicker, chances are on a rock like this, it's really not going to matter much because it's a rough surface anyway, and you can kind of suggest that later, make it a feature and not a problem. Or you can just take your black and brown, which I have mixed up here in the upper corner, and thin it down a little bit, and just feather it in from the opposite direction, which is a great way if you're layering. If you've got brush strokes, you can always go at it from the opposite direction to kind of break those up. But you want to make sure your paint's a little thinner. Now just kind of break it up a little bit. So there we go. So he's starting to glow. Look, even just that. But what really will make him glow is filling in that inner crack, which we will do in a bit. But right now, I just want the outer effect, and then we'll go for the inner. So from there, I want to go up to my sunrise orange. You can also, like I said, use lava explosion. Explosion would be a good one. The reason I'm choosing Bones oranges for this, though, is that they do tend to have slightly better coverage. I like to use explosion and lava orange if I'm doing glazing with orange, or if I need thin layers built up. They're very translucent when thinned, and you can use that. So this one I'm going to just focus on about half the area that I did with the volcanic orange. But yeah, there's a place for transparency and there's a place for coverage. And if you're not using underpainting, like I'm not underpainting in white, then there's definitely a place for higher coverage oranges for this technique. But if I was underpainting in white, I might use explosion and lava instead because they are more transparent and would be very vibrant over the white. So got a little bit more of a glow going on there. I need to hit the upper part a little bit more. Yeah, Reaper John, I wanted to get close with the camera since I'm doing tiny little details and stuff on this little guy. Like I like people to actually be able to see the cracks and see where I'm highlighting. So see how that brings it up a lot. Now it's starting to look like glowing coals, right? And that's exactly what we want. I spend a lot of time looking at fire, like campfires and grills and things like that to kind of like make sure that I'm getting a realistic effect on some of this stuff. And the same is true for you guys. If you want to get really good at painting fire, kind of start looking at it with an eye of being a painter, you know, of what colors do I see in there? Every fire, depending on what is burning and how hot it is, fires will vary. And most wood fires or charcoal fires or like lava. All of that stuff tends to be very orange. Whereas, things like candle flames or gas flames will be closer to yellow-white or blue-white, or things like that, depending, again, on temperature and what's burning. So, and some waxes, of course, are also a very white burning light.
Thanks for the sub, Boat Times.
Oh, yay, we got a sub. We like subs. Subs makes the bosses think that these things are actually viable.
Fact.
Yes. Yeah, this is the Fire Giant and Hellhound. There you go, guys. That is the number of the model we're working on. This is the Hellhound for the Fire Giant. Yes, that's correct, Coos. This is.
Yeah, you know what, Planer? If that hashtag, for whatever reason, actually gains traction, and I mean real traction, then we will consider something like that, I guess. Don't know what I would read or how to even record it.
Well, they wanted bedtime stories from you the other day.
I could do bedtime stories. That's an audiobook I could do.
So now, guys, we take our lantern yellow. See that how bright that pops that area there. Now, I could just do this and imply there's a lot of heat coming from this vent and not do anything else. But it would probably be more effective to make this crack actually glowing. So that's where our white comes in. Now, the problem with doing this is that you kind of still need a little bit of a dark edge in there. You want the white to be way down. I'm going to actually mix lantern yellow and white. You're going to lose your edges a little bit when you start putting white, because obviously when you're taking a light color up next to a dark color, the crack looks really good. But the minute you pop a lighter color in there, you lose a little bit of that contrast, because then you're putting a really light color up against another light color, that yellow. I think I need a longer, thinner brush for this. 1 second. Grabbing my DaVinci. I was using the Reaper Ot 5, by the way, for the first part of that. But I need a thin brush at this point to hit those, get in those tiny little areas. Let me load up. There we go. So now I'm going to try to make it brighter down in that crack. And I'm just kind of going to stipple the bright color in there. I don't want to lose a lot of what I've done, though you can always touch up. So the key to any lighting effect, and that's what we're doing here, is if we really want this to look like it's glowing and just not superheated, because there's a difference, right? You could have superheated metal that's, next to a dark area. But the key is that you want your light source to be very close to white, or the lightest part, the lightest portion of the thing. So that is what implies that the glow is being radiated from the light source. I kind of liked my cracked idea better, my cracked effect better. But now that that's so hot, I think I need to actually expand my orange, because it's not reading hot enough for me. So we're going to expand our orange, folks. If it were me, I think I would probably keep the cracks just glowing and keep them dark on the inside, and then do the very bright part up top. But we can do this and just mess around. I mean, we're here to really mess around and show you guys how things change as you do stuff. Yeah, Eva Elvis, I don't know. You could try it, but these cracks aren't very, they aren't very deep is the problem. And when you're relying on water and capillary action, it might not work the way you think it does. Like, see, as there's a little bit, like I can kind of do it that way. I still have to use my brush, though, to get in there. So, yes and no. And we're still going to work up on this. I'm not happy with the color of my white streak here, though. I think I got too white and not yellow enough. So I'm going to do a mixture, 50-50. I don't want the cracks in his side to read as bright as the top of his body. So I don't want to go up to pure white. So remember, your brightness is going to depend on how high you take your highlight. Could Justin make it through reading the wonky donkey? That's a good question. Sorry, I had to adjust my... Oh, I know what's the problem. My chair is too high. Pardon me while I shrink. I'm like, my arm is going to sleep. Oh, yeah. It's important to keep very good posture while you paint, guys. Seriously. We all have bad backs anyway if we're mini painters, so we don't need to exacerbate the problem. Just going to go over some of these white parts with a pale yellow instead. Some of these are really thin over here. There we go. Yeah, posture. Are there any painting techniques that involve applying paint, letting it dry, and then some manner removing? Lava being. When you do that, that's usually people are using solvents for that. They're actually not working with acrylic paints. They are working with solvent-based paints. And using, like, there's a hairspray effect, and there's other stuff. You can use an airbrush to, like, really pummel the surface and scrape off. You can scrape off areas of that. Acrylic paint tends not to react very well to that because it is really... Solvent-based paints, you can use solvents over the top to erase part of the paint. And with acrylic paints, that's really not what you're trying for. It doesn't react that way. So, I mean, you could try it, but the problem is really if you scrape away any level of the paint, you're just going to get down to the plastic or the metal. Hi, Balrog. So, so lava being, if you're going to do that, look up like chipping techniques with enamels. Enamels are usually what people are doing when they're doing that sort of thing. So I wanted to enlarge my orange here, but now I've gotten it very chunky. So since it's chunky and I want it to blend in like a heat effect or a light effect, since we're actually like kind of doing a light effect. So here's a key thing, guys. Light, when it travels out from its source, which would be this crack, fades very quickly and it fades exponentially. So you need a kind of a smooth fade to make it really look like something is glowing. So you want to kind of remember that it's going to be very strong right here, but it's going to fade off quickly. And I'm just going to take off some of this by layering a little bit of stuff into it. It got a bit choppy. I like the glowing effect with the dark crack better. I don't so much like this effect with the bright. I think it's overdone and I think it needs to be done on a bigger part. So I'm going to say, screw you, crack thing. I don't like you. I'm getting rid of you. I'm going back to my awesome little glowy crackle sides. I like these better. Brush control, baby. That's where we're at. Yeah, it would work in it. Hellcat would probably be more, because he's like a lot of chunks put together, as I recall. He would work more like I'm going to do up here. But yeah, I like my cracked side there. All right, so let's look it up here. I'm going to take off leash. Actually going to rebase coat this in white because I want the white in the cracks between the stones because it's going to be brightest there. And then we'll actually make these stones look cooler than the stuff around it. There we go. Yeah, we'll do that. That looks good. All right. So, wow, that's really coming out. Yeah, the Hellcat was sculpted by Kevin Williams here on staff, and it is pretty cool. It's like a hell lion instead of a hellhound, so it'd be a good stand-in. You could use the hellhound stats for it. Pardon me while I touch up my little fire bits here again. Yeah, that's much better. Much better glowy stuff. All right. Do. Yeah, we have no freeze on this show. No freeze. There are more than enough freeze to keep Justin busy. And for various reasons, I don't know if having me do it is going to be feasible. Plus, I also have a lot of stuff to do on top of everything. We really need somebody to take care of mail-outs for the shows before we can start going willy-nilly with every show.
I think I figured out our drop frame problem.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of technical, but I think I fixed it. Not fixed it. I figured out the problem. I can't fix it until the stream's down.
Oh, okay. Is it because your finger was accidentally, stuffed into a socket somewhere?
That would be easy, and I wish that were the case.
Oh, okay. So let's see here. I want to make these look hot. Let me get some orange. I'm going to start painting these up, I think, with lighter colors. So like a half and half of sunrise.
Long story short, Ann.
Yeah.
I think it's we have an X99 main board, and it has issues with latency and PCI Express slots.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
known issues.
I see. Known issue. Working as intended.
Whoa, CNOT with the meaty raid.
Oh, how meaty is it? I can't look.
It is thick with 3 C's.
Wow.
Thank you, CNOT. That's
I guess
amazing.
I have to stop screwing up then, huh, guys?
Yeah, you better, hey, start painting professionally. We're professionals
No,
now.
we're not professionals.
No,
Thank you, CNOT.
They don't know that. It's fine.
Wait, I thought that was our hashtag.
No. Not to new people.
Oh.
They have to figure it out. We have to get them in and then trap them.
Oh, trap them before they realize we're not professionals.
Fact.
Got it.
How you doing, CNOT?
Yeah, CNOT, it's good to see you. I was watching your stream the other day. I really like the one-off sculpts. And I also, if I may say so, CNOT, I love your soundtrack. I love that you were listening to some ambient, like really smooth, relaxing thing, and I was like, oh yeah, I could sculpt or paint to that. I am blocking in little coals on the back of a Hellhound currently.
Since you gonna hang out for a little bit, CNOT? It looks like he's still here. You should, if you can, CNOT, you should come to ReaperCon this year.
Oh yeah.
And come check out kind of what we do on a big scale. You can meet all of us. We can have a.
Because we're hopeless fans.
We can have a beer. John loves beer. Fun fact: the harder and the more independent and the more bitter, the more he loves it.
The more bitter. So John loves his
loves
beer
bitter,
like he loves his women.
Yeah, he loves bitter, gross beer. No, he doesn't. He hates it as much as I do.
Oh, I see. All right,
it.
I see.
You guys all drink Guinness at every opportunity.
Oh,
I like stouts, but I can't drink them
Yuck.
anymore since I went low carb.
yes, Texas. Thank you,
CNOT, it is. It's Labor Day weekend, right?
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Weekend of September.
The first weekend of September, CNOT, and it's in Denton, Texas, where our headquarters is, the Denton Convention Center.
Also, if you can't be there for that, I do not. Did you plan on going to TwitchCon this year at the end of September? Yes, actually, Repentia. Yes, there will be a way to purchase goodie bags. We usually sell them. Is it right after the convention? It's not during, right?
I think you can actually order it during the convention. I think we started out doing that, and then we continued to sell them after. I thought that anybody could order a swag bag during the convention.
But they are orderable, and you will be able to get one.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a fun con. CNOT, it's an art con. It's of all the gaming cons, because there is also, there are also RPGs and war games, but of all of the gaming cons, it is the most arty. And that's intended. Like when we first started it, I was one of the people who planned it, the first ReaperCons, and we really wanted to be a little different. And there, at that time, art, painting, and sculpting classes were kind of an afterthought in the game convention scene. And so we decided to kind of focus on that, and ReaperCon has grown up around that over the years. So the focus is on the classes. Everything else happens, kind of in between and at the end of the evening when everybody's brains are tired after learning stuff all day. So what I'm doing, guys, is you can see that when I added that white, it was a bit thin, and it tended to intensify in the cracks. It kind of left me darker spots where the stones were coming through, or the coals, as I like to think of them. So I'm just going through with kind of a yellow-orange, and I'm kind of blocking in those stones and just to mark them, and then I'm going to build them up darker and darker. And where your heat source, since your heat source is greatest between the stones, because it's coming from the interior of the Hellhound, you will then, as you get toward the center of each of these coals, that's going to be the cooler spot. So it's going to be darker.
Actually, John confirmed. That's what I thought it was. They wait until after the con.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay.
Because they want to get a count for them.
Oh, right. They need a count. I remember
Correct.
now.
But I can't think of a single time that they weren't on sale afterwards. Like, we didn't, sell out during the regular con itself to the degree that we didn't have any to sell.
Right, yeah, we've always had a few left over. Because we make extra on purpose, just because we want to make sure that nobody doesn't get one, so inevitably our estimates are high.
Guillotine, send me a private message and we'll see. I'll get it worked out for you. Because there's always, as I've stated in the past, we get lots and lots and lots of emails. Usually if you get an autoresponder and the way that I filter them, they shouldn't, but it does still happen. Crap does happen. It's definitely inevitable. But we will always work with you to get it worked out. So we're not going to say, well, sorry about you. We will not do that. So
The only time I've heard of us doing that are if you pledge to Bones 1 and you only now are getting hold of us.
No, Repentia. It'll be listed after the con.
Yeah, sorry, I had misinformation. I remembered probably there was 1 year where it was the other way around, and I was wrong. So I am okay with owning up to my failures.
Well, because, we always speculate on the show anyway. So I feel like anytime we give out information, you should always take what we're saying not as gospel.
Yeah.
We often speculate.
Yeah, because we will give you a best guess and tell you really need to talk to somebody, more in the know on this thing. Because when it comes down to it, I'm down in the paint department, and that's all I know. I'm not actually directly involved with ReaperCon anymore, with building it. And neither is Justin. So, other than on the AV side. So
Right,
our knowledge base is very limited on this stuff.
Which we are actually working with a couple of people to stream. So as soon as we have the space ironed out a little more, and then we have the kind of schedule a little better, we kind of want to have as round the clock coverage as we can. Or maybe not of the con, but streams going on our channel that's content for you to enjoy.
Content.
Yeah, it may not be
con squared tint.
Correct. It may not be around the con itself. It'll just be
we don't crash instructors' classrooms or anything. That would be really disruptive. So that's not something we do. That and a lot of people ask us that. Will we stream some of the classes? And the answer is really no. The classes are there to provide an incentive to attend ReaperCon. If people could just watch from home, they wouldn't come.
And that's one of the beauties, too, of our speculating on what's going on because we're not involved. I go out of my way to basically request that John be in chat because he is a part of production right now. And he's basically a direct line of those meetings and the understanding of what's going on. So if he's in chat all the time, he can often clarify what's going on as far as production goes. Right, John?
John's like, oh, I didn't realize I was a scapegoat for this.
He's
running in fear right now.
He's the one who clarified that. Well, you knew that, but he clarified that they went on sale afterwards.
Yes, he's a valuable resource. Don't scare him away, Justin.
He's also basically one of my only mods, because lots of other people do other. He luckily now has a laptop to monitor stuff, but
I'm just futzing around with these rocks guys, trying to get them to read correctly.
If He Paints asked, and then Planar Crossroads also perpetuated it, is there going to be Brinewind paints?
I have no knowledge of that. I am denying any knowledge of that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm totally denying any knowledge of whether there will be paints themed in that manner. You will have to stay tuned and pin Reaper Ron to the wall about it.
Literally.
with a, preferably with a cutlass if you're a Brian Wind fan. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Oh, apparently they're listed on the VIP bag contents.
Oh, I guess then that they announced it yesterday. Yeah, actually they did. But yes, so there will be. However, Ron and Sadie are designing these. I am stepping back to give Sadie a good experience designing colors, as that was one of the things that she had not done much of yet. I want her to get experience with that. So I will not necessarily know what the colors are. So, and Ron, this is not the first time this has happened. Like when Ron wanted us to do the Dungeon Dwellers, he actually gave us swatches. He gave me swatches that I just essentially figured out the formulas for. Ron is actually good at designing paint colors. He designed the original Reaper Pro paint line. So, and he's great at names. I mean, he's the one who named Succubus Kiss. Come on. So now we have some glowing rocks. I need to darken them significantly if I want them really to look charred in the middle, however. So I'm going to do a 50-50 mix of the blackened brown and the volcanic orange, maybe with a little extra volcanic orange. I want it really to be just a touch darker than volcanic orange. So I'm going to get... All right, there it is. So this swirl up here is the color I'm going for. It's probably 4 drops of volcanic orange, 1 drop to black and brown, since the black and brown tends to be pretty darn strong. But that's a pretty charry color, so... Yes, Reaper John did indeed get to name that. Yes, you should totally have Sadie autograph your paint. Totally. I'm going to put dark spots now in the middle of these coals.
Actually, Coov's Ed named Drown Nipple Pink because it was supposed to be a joke, right?
Yeah, he wrote it on the urgent colors list because he thought he was being funny, and so I made it. Because when Ed, you know, decides he's going to trump... When Ed wants to be funny, it's good if you can trump him. And be even funnier. Plus, it just sounded like a fun color to make. I mean, come on.
So I have to ask, is there any more chopping for anyone? Any sort of drop? I'm still getting dropped frame errors.
Yeah, tell us if we're choppy on our stream.
It looks like it's far less than it was.
Since this is a test of the emergency Justin and Ann casting system.
We're also going to have, if we can get this up and running without any real hiccups, we're going to have some not picture-in-picture. We're going to have some overlays that are a little more fancy.
Overlays. Crazy. You're starting to make us look professional again.
Oh,
would you stop it?
I'll stop. I'm sorry, guys.
Thank
Hold on.
you.
Let me fix
Retract
this.
that immediately.
Yeah.
Redacted.
It's like, oh.
Pull from the record.
Oh no, we're hiccuping. Whoops. It's flickering. Oh, and it's work. Okay, I got it fixed again.
Uh-huh.
There it is.
There we go. We haven't had any bloopers. We'll have to have some bloopers tomorrow to show that we're not professionals.
Oh, I'll put the wrong logo up. Will that fix it?
So let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, that was too dark. So what I'm trying to do, guys, is put a dark spot in the middle of each of these little coals to make it look like the centers are more cool. And they are tiny, unfortunately, so it's a little hard to make it read. But I'm going to keep at it, because sometimes you have an idea and you're like, I know this works because I've used it on other models, but the question is are these coals too little for it to read correctly? Because you'll run into that, right? You'll actually run into things where a technique that works on a bigger model does not work on a tiny model because it just doesn't have enough space to read correctly. So we will continue trying, but it may be that my glowy coals idea is just not going to read great on this model.
Quindy said that she wants s'mores now. It does kind of look like s'mores. Like toasted
Also, I
marshmallow.
might just need to take that white down with a bit of yellow. Let's try that. I bet that will actually help. I'm going to take a little bit of my lantern yellow, and I'm going to thin it to a glaze, so it's pretty much colored water. Because I don't want it to take my white down in intensity, but I want to homogenify a bunch of this. I want to take down the intensity of the white. So I'm going to paint it over the whole thing.
Oh, that's better for sure. Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to come in and kind of dab a bunch of it off so that I get some of my original white a little bit back, because I do want it to be bright. Part of it is how it's just reading on camera, too. Like, you can see this lower part here is very hot. But there you go.
Oh, that's fair. We had to expose for the skin of the dog.
Yeah, we had to expose for the skin of the dog, so that is actually impacting how this reads.
Makes our whites really hot.
Yeah,
so.
it does. So, but this does look better. It looks more glowy coalsy.
Magnetic Gumby, want to know if you ever use any magnifying mechanisms?
Me, I have Magnetic Gumby. I have my reading glasses on right now. These are actually, I normally do not wear glasses. I have better than 20/20 vision naturally, but I don't have 20/20 vision close in. My macro eyeballs died at age 40, so as they do. So I use a three times intensity reading glasses.
How's that possible, Anne, if you're only 30?
Oh, Justin. Now I know why all the girls on this stream think you're sexy.
That's 100% what it is.
Actually, remove some of the center out of the back. No, this is how it is. This is how the model actually is. It has a kind of a divot in the back where it's kind of open and molten. So I wanted to paint it as if it was. Now, yes. Now what I can do is I can do what I was doing down here, except in kind of reverse. So I can take this lantern yellow, get a little bit of white in it so it covers even better. And I can kind of bring this out right into these surrounding cracks. So I can maybe bring this out here, like kind of bleed it out into the cracks that are coming out from this area. I might need to mix an entire well of this. Let me grab lantern yellow, pure white, and make a whole mix of this. A little bit more white. There we go. Now we've got a good mix. Now we can essentially have this, because right now it looks like it's really glowing, but it also looks like it's really contained. And in reality, there are areas coming off of this that would probably also be glowy. So let's glowy them. So let's bring them out as if to make a more like crack-tide appearance viable here. So I'm going to lighten up some of these surrounding areas to make it not look like it's just a blob in the middle of the back, essentially. And because I am putting a light yellow over a dark brown, it may take a little work to get this to work. In fact, we may just put down white first. This is underpainting in white, like we did on the back. So if we take our white and we put that down first and then put the yellow over the top, it will look like it did on the back, and get more of this stuff leaking out of here. We want some lava leaks. We're all around these big stones. We want some lava leaks. And a lava leak maybe over here and through here.
Hey, Rhonda, are you still in chat by chance?
Lava leaks.
Caramel-filled chocolate hellhounds. Wow.
Ooh.
That's
Well, it kind of does look that way. I mean, maybe if I was using chestnut gold, it would really look caramely. I'm going to go actually up to here because he's a good boy and he has a little divot on the top of his head for petting.
You know what's funny is I see this dog and I don't immediately want to pet it, and that's an uncommon thing. For me, so.
He doesn't look like a pettable oogie woogie cutie puppy, do you?
Oh, plainer. Oh, plainer. What sort of UTI does a vet hate to treat? That of a hellhound. It's too hot to handle.
Oh, dear. Yes, Rhonda's here.
Rhonda, real quick then, if you're listening, I'm trying to find the video where you paint stone, some sort of stone, and I can't remember when we did that video. Or even it's hard. We have so many videos on YouTube now that it's not super easy. So I was curious if you knew when we did that.
Here we go. We've got some leaks happening, guys. See, leaky fire. This hellhound is leaking slightly. He has an issue. That's okay. I'm sure that the fire giants don't care if he leaks fire all over the place. Or maybe they regularly keep him out in a Hellhound kennel where they can, clean up the seared ashes of people who are unluckily wander into it. All right, so I think I've got some leeks now. So I can glaze some yellow over the top of those. There we go. That looks more like natural, right? Because it wouldn't just sit in a puddle in his back. It'd probably be all over. Early November, she says?
Early November of last year?
I'm just going to get some yellow glaze.
When we were down for the Kickstarter
mixed
party.
up.
Huh.
Well, they were here for the Kickstarter party.
They were. I'm trying to think of... Okay. Because we released that. We've filmed stuff with Rhonda we have never released because
Unreleased Rhonda content?
There is, purely because I wasn't satisfied with the quality. Because I feel like if we're going to put some stuff out for painters, it just needs to be better.
The quality was not on your end, Rhonda. It was totally on Justin's end.
100% me, not Rhonda. No, it's not Rhonda at all. She's actually very organized and does a fantastic job. Thank you, Rhonda. That's 100% on me.
There we go. We got some yellowy, glowy stuff now. Mr. Hellhound is the goodest boy. There we go. Get some more orange in here now. Now we can go and bring our rocks up a little bit. Darken them down. Looking more glowy. More glowy. And these rocks did not go dark enough, so I need to do something about them. There we go. There's our rocks coming in. Doo-doo-doo. I was going to do glowing Hellhound eyes too, wasn't I? That's pretty much the same kind of effect. Get some orange up here. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Those were mainly the Learn to Paint Kit ones, remember, Rhonda, where you were given... we did release some of them, but our video setup wasn't as good then, I feel like. We have better lighting, and it just... things are just so much better now. But I'm pretty sure it's the Learn to Paint Kit topics, the ones that you wanted to release as individuals on our YouTube, if you remember.
Make these thinner. That one thinner.
Just like I needed to redo some stuff with Derek Schubert too. Like he did a speed painting for us. There's so many videos I actually want to just redo because I feel like videoing minis and recording that process is a skill in and of itself.
Yes, it has a learning curve because it's macro video.
Correct. And I've never, until we had to do this stuff, I've never had to do macro video ever. I was used to weddings and, engagement shoots and stuff like that. The pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff.
And it's a far cry from, engagement shoots to Hellhounds.
It is. It'd be more like, hey, we want to do a video footage of the wedding, but we only want to record the ring, so only follow the ring around. It feels like that.
That would be awesome.
No, Ronnie, you were not awkward. I promise. We had some focus issues. We had the color science on our FS5 then wasn't tuned in very well. It was.
Yeah, we still are tuning this stuff. Every week we tune stuff a little bit.
I tune this stuff every day.
Yeah.
So, try to.
So we're always trying to improve the experience of the audience. So there,
Absolutely.
We've got some caramely glowing innards of...
You do have to macro the ring, but usually that's pictures. It's not video. It's not, hey, we're doing this really fancy technique that artists have spent hours and hours and hours countlessly perfecting, and we want to be able to communicate it to someone who doesn't know necessarily how to do that. And that means that the medium needs to be, in my opinion, perfect, because I don't want that to be a drop in quality.
I'm going to give this guy eyeballs.
I want the message to be as effective as possible.
I'm going to give him bright white eyeballs at first.
Thank you, Rainbow Sculptor. I appreciate that. I can really appreciate that.
What? Not coming to Reaper Concus? What kind of silliness is this?
Yeah, you're right, JWG. No one in all those years of shooting weddings, no one ever told me to just focus on the Hellhound. It's like, hey, we're getting married here, but we've got this Hellhound. Just focus on it,
Just
please.
focus on the Hellhound.
Yeah,
He's
just
the
focus
goodest
on it.
boy. He needs to be focused on. All right. Now I want to thin my white down because we're underpainting here. Let's see here. Let's get some real thin white. Luckily, our paint can become extremely thin white. What time is it, Justin?
We are at 11:57.
Oh, crap. I probably shouldn't have started glowy eyes. Well, it's a lot similar to the same principles we've been using before now. So I'm using very thin white. I'm going to build up layers of it. I want it to be heaviest right around the eye, although I am going to leave a micro dark line there. And then I want it to blend out from there. We're going to start mapping it with white because that's how you get the glowy effect. It's going to be most intense right around the eye to carry the effect. So if you're trying to do glowy eyes, how you do glowy eyes. So remember, light's going to fade very fast once it gets away from its light source, depending on how bright the light source is. So if your light source is really bright, you could have, a huge glowy area extending from around these eyes, but it might look a little weird if you do. So kind of keep things in perspective. And wherever an area bunches out that's going to catch the light from those eyes, we want to hit it. And yeah, see, the more you bring it out, the more you get the effect of the glow. Ah! Everything just went white.
No, I'm sorry. That's not on there.
Oh, okay.
That's
Phew.
just
I'm like looking up at the monitor and I just exploded. I don't like to explode, at least not when I'm not planning to. I like explosions to be predictable.
I think if you ask Bug Lips, there's nothing wrong with
If
exploding.
you get a little bit too far or too much, you can always take your black and brown and blend it in from the other direction. There. Okay, so glowy Hellhound eyes. I might have gone a little bit far putting it out on the muzzle. We'll just do this. Let's just try to make it kind of go. All right, so glowy Hellhound eyes. Your eye should be pure white to start with. The area around the eye should be close to pure white. And then it fades out and gets less vibrant from there. And now the magic is that you just use a clear bright or something that's fairly transparent to glaze over that whole area. So let's do orange because we're doing oranges. Let me get sunrise orange and thin it way down. Sunrise orange has pretty good coverage, but if you add some water to it, you can get it nice and transparent. You want to build up glazes. You do not want to put like one heavy wash over it. Usually you want to go more subtle, and then you can always put two glazes on. There we go. And you're honestly just going to paint your colored water over the top of everything. Now, the reason you want to use transparent colors for this is obviously you don't want to color the dark areas as much. You want the color to show through on the white areas, but you don't want to leave lines from your glaze, right? You don't want to have too much of that happen. So I'm going to let that dry. Remember that it always dries lighter than it looks. If you see something pooling, like under the eye here, grab it out with your brush. Yeah, Balrog, underpainting in white is so important if you want a really bright effect, because it gives you that brightness. And then you can concentrate on getting the layering right with your white, and you're going to know it looks right before you even put the color on. So then once this is dry, I can take another hit of the orange and I can paint it over the top. And maybe I'm going to concentrate a little bit more around the eye to intensify the color. There's more to OSL, like essentially the color of the OSL is going to affect the underlying surface and stuff like that. But this video, we are time constrained and we do not have enough time to cover that. But generally, there you are. And if you want the eye to really look glowing, this is the final key here, you've got to put that hot white spot in the middle, or something really close to hot white, pure white. If you put a little bit of, essentially you want the source of the light to be the brightest thing, the lightest thing, the hottest thing. So a little bit of pure white makes the eye look like it is producing the light. And then if you feel like you lost some of your, some of the lightness around the eye, you can also take a little bit of white and just hit that lower lid and that upper lid right next to the eye. But yeah, OSL is a whole subject. There you go. There's a glowy eyeball, guys. Ta-da! Glazes or magic, learn to use them. Glazes are, layering and glazing are your two key techniques for a mini painting. Once you learn them, once you own them, you can do anything. Doesn't matter. Rhonda's Layer Up Kit, great way to learn this stuff. But it is. Those are your foundational techniques that catapult you from a beginning painter to an intermediate level painter. And then you just keep getting better with them, and the more confident you get with them, the more amazing things you can do. It is really that simple. So yeah, I mean, there are other techniques like wet blending that can help you, get blending and stuff down, but really everything, OSL, textures, freehand, all that stuff works off of layering and glazing, a lot of it. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, it is fun. This is a fun mini to do a lot of these crackly and fiery effects on. It has a lot of areas. I mean, I could make the mouth. Doing mouths that glow are harder because the mouth necessarily casts its own shadow, right? Because the light, the outside light from around the room is going to interfere with your effect because the top of the mouth is going to be dark no matter what. So really, if you want to make a glowing mouth, it's usually better to pick a model that has a very wide open mouth. So that a lot of light gets actually into the mouth, like a dragon whose mouth is facing upward. You could do that. That would be easier. Otherwise, yeah, layering glaze is true magic. It is true, rings, it is true. But yeah, so otherwise you're fighting against the actual shadows in the lighting in the room where people are looking at the mini. Yeah, they should be everybody's rings. I mean, almost everything we do with acrylic paint is based on that. It's different when you go to oils or watercolors or things like that. Then you've got different techniques and brush techniques, especially that define the medium. But with acrylic, I really feel like this is the shtick. This is what you do. All right, guys, that is the conclusion.
I'm gonna cut back to face cam here, Miss Ann. Primary.
Okay, sure, do it. There's little glowy eyeball still.
That could come with an intro playing again.
Oh, really?
Similar problem. I figured out how to fix it though.
Okay,
so
well, yes,
it's
I
only
figured
gonna
out.
be for this one.
I figured out how to fix mine too, but remembering to do it is the problem.
Sure. All right.
Yes, indeedy.
Nope, we're good. Never mind, we're good.
We're good. So WCC War, you can paint the hound like a dog and then put these effects on. I wanted to paint the hound more like he was a piece of coal, like just an animated piece of like fiery rock. Since he's kind of sculpted that way, he has a lot of rocky chunks on his hide. But you could paint the dog more like realistic. It just might kind of look weird because if you've got a realistic dog on the legs and the head, and then you start doing all this stuff over the top of it, you want to make sure the dog's color is dark, essentially, to get both things. Like I could have painted him like a black Rottweiler maybe, and then done some of the coloration. But you don't want to. I don't know. I like him better as an elemental thing. Maybe that's just me. But you can do the paint him like a dog thing. Just keep an eye on the fact that like glowing effects like these work far better on a dark model. So if you were going to paint him like a real dog, I'd paint him like a dark-colored real dog. It's much harder to pull off on a light-colored dog.
Also, if people want more of Anne, they just have to come back later today, right?
I know. I'm going to like eat lunch and hang out with Kiri and prep, look at what I'm going to do to drive myself insane at 3, which is more dragon.
Yes.
I'm going to keep working on wings because I want these wings done. I was just thinking of ways I might want to do the wings. Minecraft dog that ran into the fireplace. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Okay. Well, yeah, Twisted Oma. Like, that's why I repeat myself a lot, right? Because that way, every time you watch, maybe you get a little bit more pounded into your head. And if you're like me, it takes a lot of repetitions. A Hella Chihuahua. Yeah, you could totally do that. So yeah, I'm going to be doing more Dragon Wings this afternoon, working on the White Dragon. Because I want to get this sucker done. Like, I kind of have a timeline that I'm on that I want to get it done by. So that is what we are going to be doing. We're going to be continuing to soldier on through the dragon. And this is really, when you're painting big models, this is the challenge, right? You get bored with it. You get like, oh my God, I don't want to see another dragon for the next year. But there is nothing for it but to push forward. If you just make yourself do it, eventually you're done with it. And then you feel awesome because you finished such a big project. So yes. Yeah, Vimanakwa, I know there are Discord questions and stuff also. So Justin and I pretty much had decided that we wanted to, get enough questions and then maybe we'd do an AMA session. Yes, you're welcome. I enjoy. I will see you guys at 3 p.m. Central Time.
I'm still looking for a raid here.
You're still looking for a raid? Oh, some people's kids. But yeah, you're welcome, guys. And I'll look forward to seeing many of you this afternoon. You're taking a forever break. Yeah, David, my boyfriend, says that it's not the shelf of shame. He says it's the shelf of lost love, Bug Lips, because he doesn't he's not into shame, he says. He's more like, I have fallen out of love with these models. They are going to sit on the shelf because they have lost love.
You know what? It looks like...
Oh, Justin, toolbox number 19 from Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Rhonda, awesome.
There you go, Cooves. Toolbox number 19 is where she paints stone, if Cooves is still in
Yeah,
there.
and I'm going to do some stone, too. I was actually thinking about doing it, maybe doing some tomorrow. Not that my stone will be better than Rhonda's stone. It will just be different from Rhonda's stone.
By Cooves, I meant Sibstorm, not Cooves. Although, maybe you want to watch it, Cooves. I have no idea. But, yes. All right, well, the raid I have here is for a couple of people painting minis, and it looks like it's Gen Con TV. I didn't know that they were.
Oh wow,
streaming,
maybe who knows what they're doing? Yeah. Who knows if it's we'll find out, right? Yes, Twistoma, the love may appear again. That's kind of his point. Eventually, I mean, he did it. David did just pick up something off of his shelf and actually finish it, so it does happen. Actually, my stone effect is based directly on Proctor's stone, Samurai Jack.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that. That is the stream where
paint would not dry.
Paint would not dry.
See-through minis. I don't have any of those prepped, Vimanakwa, but I've always wanted to paint the water weird, so maybe we'll do that. We are going to raid Gen Con TV. They're going to be like, what?
Yeah, they might be a little surprised. We'll see. All right, guys. We will see you this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll see you this afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Be back for Dragons this afternoon.
And keep being awesome.
You're welcome, everybody. I love you all.
See you guys.
Have a great rest of your morning or afternoon, evening.